Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Guts to Fail. It's Thursday, August 20th, and my kids are homeschooling, virtual learning, whatever, with two neighbors. And so my husband took one of them to one neighbor that is doing the second grade boys, and my daughter is at another one. And I feel like my kids are at school right now is the best feeling in the whole world. So I'm very excited about this. And Venetta Petties is our special guest today. Let her introduce her business and everything. But I want to tell you that her and I go way back, and we were talking just a second ago before I realized that it was 10 o'clock. That this whole interview is threaded together by all of us entrepreneurs that had the guts to fail, and we have the guts to fail every single day. And I believe that one thing is the thing that connects all of us, is that we're willing to take risks. We're willing to put ourselves out there. And right before we came on camera, you were talking about hitting the pavement. And I'm going to talk about something where I did that. And then I want you to talk about when you did that and introduce yourself and your business. And we're going to talk about the wedding industry today and collaboration over competition. And there's no better person than Venetta to talk about that. I'm so excited to have you. So back in the day when I was at Frisco Mercantile, I had a little 5x10 booth, and I thought, well, I need to sell chalk paint because I'm doing all this furniture refinishing, but I didn't have a paint to sell, and I wasn't using wholesale paint, so my margins were bigger. So I started demoing for all the other paint brands in the Mercantile and standing there for 4 hours and saying, hey, buy her paint, it's awesome. And then I'd paint my furniture as a demo, and that was kind of my accidental hitting the pavement. But that one thing that I did every Friday for a year built my business more than anything else I ever did. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't because I was doing it intentionally. It was just that I needed to either buy into a paint brand that was super expensive and I didn't have it, or get my paint cheaper. Well, in this way, I was able to collaborate with the 12 paint brands, get my paint for free. And I've actually built my business more than I built theirs unintentionally, just because people connected with me because I was standing there. So, Venetta, Pink Glitter Events. Yes. I love the whole thing that you just said, hitting the pavement. I feel like that's going to be the theme of today. Yes. But, in collaboration, I want you to tell me all about how you got started, your background, family, whatever, and okay. Know you.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, first, thank you for the opportunity to be here and to be a part of this. And I was so excited and kind of nervous. So just hang with me there as we go through this. But I would say, I'm a native Texan, and you'll see all over anything about me. I start off with, I'm a small town girl. And I think that's important because sometimes people think, it can be intimidating in the DFW area, right? If you're from a small town. But I always say that because I think it's important for people to know, being from a small town, don't be intimidated by the big city folks, and you can do the same things that they can do. So I always start off with that. I am married, been married almost 15 years now, have two beautiful daughters, 13 and 16. So pray for me on that.
Wow.
Yes. And I love the way you're doing the e-learning. I love that idea. We start on the 26th, so I'm taking all the tips I can get.
When you say small town, what small town?
So I'm from Breckenridge, Texas. It's like 6,000 people, and it's probably less now just because, people leave and everything. So it's probably more around 4,000. But yeah, my graduating class was 96 people. So it was truly a small town. My first job was working at Sonic as a car hop. And I got hired on when it was 15, probably was not legally supposed to be working, but it's a small town, local owner. but yeah, moved up here to Dallas. And I've been up here, well, Denton, I live in Denton, but been in this area probably for the last 20 years. And, I've grown to love it, but I still prefer the small town, which is why I live in Denton. I also have lived in the Corinth area and Aubrey for about a year before I was like, this is too far from anything. I moved out of there. But, the thing I would say as far as with Pink Glitter events is I've always been, and this is, I think, what really drew me to you, Brooklyn, is I've always been that let's throw a party type gal, right? Let's make it a party. And that's how you are. With everything you do, it's like a party. I remember watching your painting videos. It was like a party. And even from the beginning, I was like you wanted to attend my annual Christmas party when I was in high school. You wanted, I would go all out for my birthday party. So it was just all about, and it really wasn't about me because I'm more of an introvert. I just liked just bringing people together. Like what you said, the thought of bringing people together and allowing them to have a great time and knowing that you put this together, was really what drove that passion. And it continued on. I went into corporate America. My background is as a trainer. But I found myself also in those trainer jobs in corporate America, being the one that leadership would come to and say, hey, we're wanting to plan a carnival, for the call center employees, can you help with that? We're wanting to plan the Christmas party. So I was always on that planning committee as well. And, back in 2000, I think it was 16, I really just started praying over God to help me to find my purpose, because I love training. Don't get me wrong. I love training. And I really felt like that was, in my element, and it was a blessing to be doing something I loved, but I felt like I was made for something more. And so I prayed, and this was not one of those, this is not that Hallmark moment where, the next day God shows me that it didn't happen like that, Brooklyn.
He wasn't like,
right. Yeah. No. This is like me, like a year later, seriously.
Wow.
And I meditated over Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plans I have for you, but no, this was not a Hallmark movie, guys. So he showed me, and it literally just hit me. And I told my husband, I said, I sit down to him on the couch one day and I said, we're going to do weddings and you're going to officiate them. And he was like,
what? Was he like,
yes. And he was like, yes. He was just, but at that time, we started off with what I called pop-up weddings, which are now very popular in 2020. But just keep in mind, I was doing them 4 years ago.
You're the OG.
I was the OG of pop-up weddings, yes. And I'm a big time researcher, so I'd researched them a lot. And it was really kind of after our own wedding. We had a small wedding of about 50 guests, nothing huge, nothing big. And I was like, we were coming together as a blended family. We were buying our first home. We didn't want to spend a whole lot of money on a wedding. So I wanted to target those same couples who were in the same position as us.
So, okay, I've got so many notes and
sure.
people because I got questions.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that you are your ideal client.
Yes.
That is so hard. And obviously I've come a long way since the painting workshop or whatever. I tell people they have to figure out who they're speaking to in their audience.
Yes.
And it's really quite obvious that the people that they're speaking to are them.
Right.
Resonate and will resonate with them, or the people that are like them.
Right.
And that your audience changes as you grow. If you're you have empty nesters. If you're 80, then you need to speak to other 70, 80-year-olds.
Right.
If you're 22, then you need to find all the other millennials or whatever they're called.
Yes.
Yeah, generations 12.
Right. Right. I know, like, which one are we on?
You just said that that you wanted to cater to the other yous out there. I love that you said that you prayed about it first, because so many times we're like, our plans, right? And we've got this idea, and that is what we're going to do. But pray about it first. And I mean, that's important to talk about. And it's also really important to highlight the fact that you said your moment came a year later, and it was not like a Hallmark moment. I mean, although that is kind of a Hallmark movie.
Right. Yeah.
We're going to do that.
Hallmark Lifetime, you know, with all the
Yeah. So, anyway, okay, sorry to
No, you're fine.
Okay, go.
But yeah, so I just, you know, it started there with Pop and Go Weddings, and Pop and Go Weddings still exists. It's now under the Pink Glitter Events umbrella, because like what you just said was so perfect, Brooklyn, is that I found there was couples out there who was like, you know, some of them were on their second marriage and was like, I've done the whole big fairy tale wedding once. I don't want to do it again. I've learned my lesson. But I also started getting just regular couples reaching out to me who wanted these big extravagant weddings. And I wrestled with that for a while, because it was so pivotal, or so just really important on what you said there, is that I had to pivot to those weddings because that was not my belief, if that makes sense, right? Not judging them, you know, like it just wasn't my belief in spending $40,000, $50,000 on a wedding. You know, I was like, get you a house, get you some land, get you some, you know.
Pay off your credit cards.
Yes, pay off those student loans. Yes. So I really had to pivot, and I had to remove myself from that and say, it's not about Venetta, right? It's about me. If this bride comes and says, I have a $50,000 budget and I want this and this and this, it's about me to make it happen and to make her happy and to make her vision come to life. And that's what I had to do. And that's where Pink Glitter Events was born, because of that. And it really took off in 2017. 2018, I did over 100 weddings in 2018. Yes.
What is your process management system online? What's the digital tool that you use to help you manage that?
Good question. I use HoneyBook. One, and I love HoneyBook. I also use Timeline Genius, because that helps me when I'm making the timelines. I can do them in like 45 minutes versus it used to take 2 or 3 hours to do a timeline. But HoneyBook and Timeline Genius are both ones that I sink a lot of money into to help me to be productive and to be able to manage all of that.
That money that you sink into that is in lieu of hiring 12 other people.
Exactly.
Up to 1 in the morning doing it yourself.
Exactly. Yes.
And I'm sure that it saves your template so that you can kind of fill it in.
Oh my gosh, yes. I can send a proposal from the sideline of the soccer field. You know, and that's what both my girls play soccer. So sometimes I've had to do that. And that's what I love about it, you know, is someone may, you know, reach out to me and I'm like, oh yeah, let me send you a proposal. And I put the app on my phone because that template is already there. So it saves me a huge amount of time. And we know how important it is to, you know, get that proposal out quickly, because you're probably in competition with, you know, other people that they've talked to.
And the quicker you do it, the more and the more professional it looks when it arrives.
Yes.
People are like, I like that girl.
Yes. And it's all online, which is, you know, what we love. You know, if I can pay you online, if I can sign my contract online, I mean, really, who's like, when people tell me now, oh, I need you to print this and scan it and send it back to me. I'll be honest, Brooklyn, I'm like, okay, you just lost some brownie points with me on there, you know, because who is still, you know, scanning stuff and sending it back? So I definitely try to stay innovative and make it easy for my clients to be able to do that. To do business with me.
When you say HoneyBook and Timeline Genius, and then you said contracts. First of all, just a quick question. Are your contracts, does HoneyBook provide those, or did you get those from an outside source?
Good question. I did a little bit of both. So Honeybook does have contracts. When I first started out, I used theirs. After being in business for a couple of years, I did reach out to a professional and get more of a customized contract. So, because one thing you'll learn when you do over 100 weddings in a year is I need to make some changes to my contract. And because I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that, and you didn't pay me for that. And, so we learned, it's just like the guts to fail, right? You learn that and you're constantly changing, right? As you go in, you may be, okay, I need to add this to my contract. So that was one thing I did was, but Honeybook does have some great, what I would like to call starter contracts there. But I would recommend that, once you start making money and building your operational account, building that account up with money, then definitely invest in a solid contract that's tailored to your business and what you do.
Yeah, and you don't really, it's good to have a starter contract, having the guts to fail. And I found that there are two types of people. There's the person that the going gets rough, the clients are mean, and instead of reflecting and saying, what about my policies and procedures, my terms and conditions weren't clear?
Yes.
And then change it and adapt to the next one.
Right.
Saying, oh, I hate people, I'm not going to be in this anymore.
Absolutely.
Right? Because the worst does come out in people, especially when you're in big, important moments in their life, like,
funerals and weddings, girl. Funerals and weddings.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Okay. So the contracts, that was a big key. I always say good contracts make great friends.
Yes.
And the better the contract and the more clear, and set time aside to go over that with them.
Yes.
People don't read. Yeah, but highlighting the important points that you want them to make sure they know is important. So I love that. Okay. So moving on from Honeybook. So I got a little sidetracked, but I got
you're fine.
Timeline Genius, just really quick. That is something like, for instance, I'm writing an e-course, and that course goes, and I want my clients that take that course to have an idea of what's coming. And so yes, going through that process. Right. Would that be good for that application?
It could be, the best way I tell people about like a timeline is that, a timeline can really apply to anything, right? It doesn't have to necessarily be wedding related. It could definitely be to, like what you said, your e-course. I always tell people to think about it like, I don't know if you've ever did theater. I could totally see you being in theater, but I don't know if you ever... But in theater, think about when you had a play and you had that stage director, and that stage director is running around with that clipboard and saying, okay, we need Brooklyn, you enter at this time from this. That's kind of like a timeline. My timelines are normally 4 to 5 pages for a wedding because it's covering every detail, right? It's very intense, very detailed. But it works like, even with your homeschooling, right? They're on a timeline. They may have, okay, you're going to get up and get ready. You're going to eat breakfast, and you need to be at the neighbor's house by this time. And yes. So it's a great tool because before this, planners used to do their timelines using Excel or Word. And it was very, very time consuming. And that's one advice I give to new planners who are starting out is invest in Timeline Genius. It's a few $100s a year for the subscription. You get unlimited timelines, but it's, save your sanity. Right?
Wow. Okay. And so you teach other planners, that want to get into the field.
Yes. And that's one thing that may be a little bit different about me and goes with the, I love how you put it, the collaboration over competition. I have had planners come and shadow me at weddings who I knew were wanting to start their own business, right? They were not wanting to come work for me, but they were wanting to start their own business. I have no problem doing that, because here's the thing is that if they can come and shadow me and learn something from what I'm doing, then when they go out there and plan weddings, they're probably going to do a better job than just someone who has just like, oh, I planned my wedding, it went great, now I want to start planning weddings, and they get out there and you're like, oh my gosh, this person, in those Facebook groups, you know what I'm saying? And it turns out badly. Well, the thing is that gives a bad reputation for all planners. I'm sure you can understand, everyone gets sucked up into that. So if I can teach one to be a little bit better starting off, or, to go out there and do something a little bit different, it's going to reflect on all of us, whether we are 1 year in or 5 years in. It reflects on all of us.
Have you ever thought about, or maybe you do, which kind of brings me to this question, do you have other planners that are on your team that you, I call it pimping out, so you do this wedding, you do this wedding, I get 20% of that, but you do all the work.
Right.
It's my book of business, but I can't physically do them all.
Right. So I did that in 2018 and a lot of in 2019. And then she was working for me part-time, but she was like an associate planner. So she would do, some weddings and everything. She went back to school to be an accountant, so I lost her. And it's been very hard finding a replacement, because just like how with what you do, it's, it becomes your baby and you're like, I have a reputation to uphold. And I'm one of those, when I get to the wedding, I'm in my zone and I'm moving, and I need you to move too. I'll need you to be on it too. And it's been hard to find.
I have, listening to you talk about that, there's a class that I took, started February 19th. I hired Eka, my assistant, 3.5 weeks later. It walks you through hiring an assistant, but it talks about how the biggest part of the class is, obviously I got Eka out of it, but it teaches you how to systemize your business and make everything you do into a system and a process, so that your virtual assistant, you teach them using it's called Loom, and you record your screen, and you're doing the timeline, and the contract, and you doing the proposal, and you record yourself, and the virtual assistant uses a template to make a screenshot system and a process for replicating that.
Really?
Now have a system and a process book separated by tabs of everything that we do daily, weekly, monthly, and occasionally. And so it allows me to take this crazy business of mine and give it over to someone else to do, because that's page 12.
Right. Yes.
So it takes a lot of time at first, but we got to talk after this about that.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely interested in that. Yes.
So you brought us up to 2019. Take us back a little bit before moving forward to Boss Babes. And just tell us really quick about your hitting the pavement. Because I talked about that selling the paint and teaching demos for free at the Mercantile. You said something about cookies. So tell me about that.
Yes. So I will tell you, back in 2016, I really focused on marketing. I was not trying to book a wedding. I was not trying to book a birthday party. I was focused on marketing and getting that name out there. And I had t-shirts made. I'm sorry.
Brand building.
Yes. Building a brand. Exactly. And that's why I told people I didn't want this to be a business. I wanted it to be a brand. So I had t-shirts made. I had like these Starbucks cups made with, the emblem on it, the logo on it. And I was giving it away. And I would tell people, you know, like, oh, can I send you a t-shirt? Of course you post on social media, like people will take a free pickle, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, send me that.
I gotta write that down.
You know, if you go to McAllister's and you don't get that free pickle, you're upset. So it's like, so people were like, yeah, send me a shirt, send me, a cup. And I was mailing these things out and shipping them to people near and far, my friends. And it was just, that's how I built pretty much, like, for lack of better words, like a fan base for my business. And what I found, I remember one Saturday, I had a friend of mine, her collects cookies. She had just started out, and I had her make me some cookies with my logo on them. When I picked them up, it was like 2-3 dozen cookies, and I just put on Facebook. I had a picture of me holding the box of cookies, and I was like, "Does anyone want a cookie? I'll deliver it to you." And people are like, "Yes, bring me one." And I was bringing cookies to people, but that's how it was so important that I did that. And that's sometimes what we're afraid to do, because again, the guts to fail, because we're afraid of that person who's going to say, no, I don't want your cookie. No, I don't want your t-shirt. I don't want your Starbucks cup. That we tend to just be like, oh, well, I'm gonna stay with my safe friends like Brooklyn, and rather than branch out there. But you have to branch out there. You have to pound the pavement. Mark Cuban, he's one of my favorite sharks on Shark Tank, he says, when people get out there and go door to door, which door to door for 2020 is a little bit different, right? But when you get out there and you're doing that door to door sales, that's how you know that person is ready. That person is really passionate about what they're doing.
Yes. Oh, I just got chills. Sometimes people are like, they're so afraid to start.
Yes.
Sale is about not that you don't have fear.
Right.
It's say to hell with it. I'm doing it this way.
Yes.
Out of your comfort zone, and that's where magic happens. And I almost just teared up because it's so hard to teach.
Yes.
So hard. You literally got to take the poor little person and shove them off the cliff.
Yes. Because remember, I'm an introvert.
What?
I'm an introvert, but I can put on that face, you know what I'm saying? And that's what we sometimes have to do. We have to suck it up, put on that mask, and maybe here's the other advice I would get. Go out and get you the cutest outfit, the cutest shoes. Seriously, it works. And that becomes your, like your costume. Like when you're wearing that outfit, whether it's yellow is a great color on you, or, and you put those shoes on, and I'll see if I can find a picture. I'll send it to you. But I did. I had my cute outfit. I had my cute shoes. I had my daughter take a picture of me, which was the worst picture. Like she, how kids take my picture and they're like, oh, there you go. Yeah. But I put it on Facebook.
That's a bad angle.
They don't care. I put it on Facebook, and people they loved it. But let that be your security blanket, right? It's like a security blanket. I know I have on this cute outfit. I know I have on these cute shoes. Yeah. That becomes your security blanket. Yeah, especially if you're an introvert.
I feel a lot more confident than I did about an hour ago before I had traveled. And yeah, that's such good advice. And so many people are like, oh, you're beautiful just being you. Yes, we are.
Right.
We all are, because God made us and he doesn't make a freaking mistake.
Exactly.
Still, when we invest in ourselves, we're telling ourselves that we're worthy of being invested in.
Yes.
And that confidence comes out in what we say. We don't be desperate or, it makes you right. You're so right. So I know that we kind of, I didn't want that to stop at all, but I love it. Give you time to talk about our most recent interaction, which was a long time ago, actually.
I know, right?
Tell me about Boss Babes and how that came about, and how people can join, and who you're looking for to join.
Sure, absolutely. So with Boss Babes, it came about to where that community, right? And kind of like the example I gave earlier of, taking someone who under your wing and showing them the ropes and giving them, a foundation, right, to build upon. That's where that ideal came from. And I'm a night owl, so I'm up pretty late nights. And I was Facebook messaging with a wedding photographer, Miranda Longoria, and we were just kind of talking, and everything. And then it just kind of, and this is God, right? This is one of those God moments, honestly, where it just kind of was like, oh, imagine if we had our own group, this group of females who work in the wedding industry, because believe it or not, the wedding industry used to be primarily male. Could you imagine? Like,
What?
Think back to, have you seen Father of the Bride with Steve Martin?
That is my favorite.
Okay, their wedding planner.
Or no, please has the rules. And he's like Bosnick or whatever, and like, bye bye, George, see you next Thursday. Yeah, that's my favorite. That is my
I know. Yes, that's my favorite. But if you think about every wedding vendor for his daughter's wedding was a man. Remember the wedding planner was a male?
Yeah.
And yeah, so it was very heavy, but that has shifted, thank goodness. That has shifted, especially over the last 5 years. We've seen a huge shift in where there's more females working in the wedding industry. And so we just kind of started talking about it. And we was like, okay, let's meet up at this, over tacos and daiquiris, because that's when the best ideas come out of tacos and daiquiris.
Yeah, I mean, I with y'all. Invite me next time.
Yeah. So, after a couple of tacos and probably a couple of daiquiris, that's how, we were talking, and we had planned our first event that we were going to have. And we knew, though, that we wanted it to be community and we wanted it to be a safe place, right? Mm-hmm. Because that sometimes with women, and again, we're starting to see this shift, thank goodness. But in the past, when you get some women together, you can get that cattiness, right? Mm-hmm. We didn't want that to happen. We didn't want it to be, that competition, that competitive, or, well, I've been doing this 5 years. You've only been doing it 5 months. So, really? Yes, we didn't want
ideas. They all come to it with various ideas and reasons. But you said, I realized that this has definitely been your passion since your birthday parties and your Christmas parties.
Yes.
It's obviously, where your talent, your God-given talent lies, because connecting people, throwing parties, making people feel welcome and having fun.
Yes.
And that all comes together, and Steve Harvey says to create your mission or your purpose, right?
Yes.
So I love that. So Boss Babes was born. And it's now a Facebook group, and y'all meet how often?
We meet every other month, post-COVID, right? It slowed down a lot just because we're like, can we meet? Can we, so it's slow. But post-COVID, we definitely were meeting every other month. We have grown to over 700 members. And we have about, I think, 80 pro members. And pro members is where we now offer like a pro membership where, you may get access to some of the events may be free for you. You get free headshots, right, that you can use for your business. So that has really grown a lot. But as a group, we have grown to over 700. We're between 750, 800 members.
Wow.
I know. No cattiness. Because the thing is, I think people realize that this isn't the group for that. They quickly realize it.
Do you tell me about where y'all meet and how you choose those locations?
Good question. So where we meet, we like to meet at like venues or places that would be like, to give those places exposure, to take you to somewhere where you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this place existed, and now you know and you can see. So we like to partner with those type of places to give them that exposure. And we have like our last one we just had was our charcuterie board, where the owner came in and she taught us how to make these cute charcuterie boards. I'm probably not saying it right, but you know what I'm talking about. Meat and cheese trays, the fancy meat and cheese trays. And it was amazing. We've done them to where our Halloween party was awesome. We dressed up in costumes, came to the Halloween party. We've had the Boss Babe retreat, which you were one of the guest speakers at, where we rented out, the conference room of a hotel and it was just about educating females, right? Business owners, whether you was 1 month in, whether you was still on the ledge, right? Like Stevie Horse says, trying to see if I want to jump off. Yeah. Or if you was 5 years in, because what you said was so critical, Brooklyn, is that no matter if you're 5 months into being a wedding planner, I can learn from you because you have fresh eyes. You have new eyes. You know what I'm saying? So I can still learn from you and vice versa. And that's what we really try to focus on. Wisdom
and new.
Yes.
Really good. A really good combination.
And that's what we have. If you look at our group and you look at the members, it's a mixture. It's not just like all these people who've been doing this for years and years. It's very diverse. And it's a mixture of people who are new to this, who have been doing this, and they all come together. I love seeing those posts where someone says, oh, it's that safe place where you can ask those questions that sometimes we may be scared to ask because it's like, I don't want to look like the stupid person in the room, but you can ask them there. And that's what warms my heart, is when I see someone post something like that and women just start commenting, oh no, you need to do this, or like recently was about taxes, right? We all just dealt with our business taxes.
Yeah. I don't deal with that. I have so many like, I'm gonna pay, I don't care how much, you're gonna do that.
Yeah. Well, mine went out July 15th, so what can I say? I'm gonna say but people were asking questions about taxes, and people were, there was no judgment. There was no like, go get you a CPA, go get you an accountant. It was like people were trying to honestly, sincerely help. And that's what I love about Boss Babes the most. And, the venue tours that you mentioned have been very well received, where we rented like a party bus and took people out. We tried to do like at least 3 or 4 venues, and just going out there, the people love that. And again, it's taking you out to places that you probably may not have been before, and being able to see, hey, this is what's available for your clients, or here's an option for your clients. And then just being able to interact with other, Boss Babes who are on that bus as well.
Yes. So Boss Babes of the wedding industry specifically, event owners, photographers, hair, makeup, liquid bartenders,
DJs,
event planners,
yes,
cake makers, all of anything that you need for a wedding, you are allowed to join. And quick question, just because it kept coming up, have you ever been out to Avalon Legacy Ranch in McKinney?
I have not been out there. I've heard it's beautiful, and I know the venue manager, Allie Ladd. She recently had a baby, but yes, I do need to get out there. Have you been out there?
Yeah. So Debbie, the owner, we're both English teachers at Staley, and I ran down to her room. I said, I did it. I turned in my resignation. And she, word. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm leaving, and I did it. And so about a month later, she comes out and she goes, break time, kids. And she goes, I did it too. And so we quit our job. And were very creative. You
Oh,
and our principals were trying to like stuff us in there, and we're
oh,
on the radar. So,
yeah.
anyways, we were like done, and got a realtor who helped her buy the property, and what we've become now.
Yes.
We're very connected. We talk all the time. We can't believe our lives now from where it was before.
Right.
And Allie is her daughter-in-law, and Allie, I'm glad she has an Allie. That's all I got. Love her. She's hysterical, and the property is. I mean, I don't tour wedding venues, but it's magic. It really is. So. We're like 10 minutes over because I love you so much.
Oh, thank you. And I'm so sorry. I'm a talker.
Thank you. I'm going to let everyone know that this is over, and we love you. And she is Pink Glitter Events. That's on Facebook, right?
Yes.
And a website.
Yes, I just had my website. I just went through a rebranding on my website. That was something I did during the downtime of COVID. Don't be afraid of downtime. Make sure your listeners understand that. Don't be afraid, like especially what we're going through. I used that downtime to rebrand my website. So please take a look at it and let me know your feedback. I launched the other business, Girls Who Twirl Cotton Candy. Do not be afraid of downtime, guys.
Girls
use that to Girls Who Twirl Cotton Candy. Yes, and we're on Facebook and Instagram. I'm currently having a website built for that one.
This is Girls Who Twirl Cotton Candy and go around to events and do cotton candy things.
Yes.
Okay, wait. Okay, so we got to get off of here so that I can talk to you after this. Okay. All you guys, I will see you next Thursday. Go join Boss Babes of Denton County wedding industry. Join their pro membership. It is the better deal as far as that you get. And go check out her new website.
Please.
Girls Who Twirl Cotton Candy. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that. And at the end. Okay.
It's okay.
Bye. I'll see you next week.
Thank you so much for having me.